drunk, 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 hammered drunk, 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 drunk.
Drunk trade of the week.
So this week's drunk trade comes from @DynastyFBFan on Twitter, who, just as a precursor to this, rated himself as a 6 out of 10 on the drunk scale when this trade actually went down. I want you to keep in mind the date on this. This happened March 14th, so a couple of weeks back here. Traded, honestly, I still haven't gotten a clear answer from this person, so I don't know if they're embarrassed, but one way or the other, the sides of the trade are as such. One side got Mitch Trubisky. The other side got rookie picks 205 and the 312, plus, very important here, $1 of fab. This is presumed to be a super flex dynasty league. Mitch Trubisky now, of course, the presumed starter in Pittsburgh. So, gentlemen, before I read another funny comment from somebody else who saw this trade, I want to get your opinions on this. Chase, we'll start with you. Rates himself 6 out of 10 on the drunk scale. You think that adds up for this kind of trade that we're talking about?
So what I'm thinking happened, right, was somebody ended up sending, obviously somebody had to initiate the trade, right? And so that person ended up countering and saying, hey, this isn't enough, right? And so they decided to say, hey, I'll throw in $1 and see if he goes for it. He was so hammered, he didn't even realize the initial offer, the initial trade, right? He just saw a counter with the same thing in with an additional $1, but he didn't even realize what he sent in the first place. So he's like, oh, I'm getting more than what I got last time, so I'm going to accept it, right? So that's where I'm coming off. But, I mean, honestly,
I buy the logic.
Dude, I'm getting more than what I got the last time. This is definitely a better counter than what I sent him. I'm taking it. So, Mitch Trubisky is somebody that I believe in. I think that he's going to be a decent quarterback in this league. I hated the system that he was set up in. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's immaculate, but could he be a starter at a Ryan and Tannehill type level? I think that he could be. You have the rushing upside, obviously, and now he could end up having that same upside in a good offense with a Matt Canada led system to where he needs a rushing quarterback in order to obtain success. So I think that Mitch Trubisky, as long as they get the ball out of his hands quickly and they don't ask him to make complicated reads, he can gain his confidence and become a starter. And for that reason, I mean, sending 2 draft picks away for that, or accepting, if you're the receiving end of that, I'd much rather go with the starting quarterback in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, if Big Ben could make it work, I feel like Mitch Trubisky, if Big Ben threw the ball 0.5 seconds after getting the snap every time last year. So really, that's all Mitch Trubisky has to do. Dustin, do you think that do you have a strong preference, Dustin, to one side of this trade or the other?
Yeah, I agree with Chase here. Mitch Trubisky all the way, especially in a super flex league. You're going to get at worst, a mid-range QB2 out of this for basically dart throws and that $1 of fab, which I know can be important come the end of the season. I get that. But really, you're getting a starting quarterback. I like, the offense. They've got so many weapons there with the wide receivers. They got a solid running game. They've worked at upgrading their offensive line this offseason, which I still think they're probably going to address a little bit in the draft here. So, yeah, I think that it's wheels up for Trubisky. I can't say that this was a bad trade at all for the person receiving Trubisky.
Right. Now, here's what I want to do the throwback to. I want us all to pile into our DeLorean for just a split second, because when this trade happened, Mitch Trubisky had not yet been signed by the Steelers. There were some assumptions going around that he could land a starting gig somewhere. So this was just, I think, 3 days before he officially signed with the Steelers. So at that point, let's take the Steelers off the board. And we're still in free agency mode. Does this change your opinion of the trade significantly? I know it's hard because we know where he ended up now, but we didn't know back then. Would you have a strong preference then?
No, because there's a chance he could have landed up with the Giants and competed for a starting job with Brian Dable, and I would have liked that even more than I would have liked going to Pittsburgh, to be honest, just because I think that he knows the system that would tailor to success. Not saying they can't be successful with the Steelers, because obviously we already covered that, but I think that we could have seen him with possibly the Saints or maybe even I don't know, Carolina. I might have liked more than the Steelers. So, I mean, obviously, hindsight's 2020, and we don't know, he could have ended up going to a terrible team. But I mean, honestly, the Steelers were almost, I'm not going to say worst case scenario, but the Steelers were a pretty good option outside of him landing as a backup somewhere. And I don't see too many teams that would have signed him or that he would have signed with outside of the Giants to where he would have had to compete for a starting job. Outside of with a rookie, by the way.
Fair. All right. By the way, I just want to say you're both underestimating that dollar a fab. That dollar a fab could turn into literally anything, and you don't know for sure. That could pick up the next Alvin Kamara off of waivers. All right.
True story.
Or Mitchell Trubisky.
Or the next Mitchell Trubisky or a boat. So who's to say really what you could get with that dollar? Not us. I'm